Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a real quick video on how to customize a category of topwater baits, a hard topwater baits that I think is a really good category for during the summertime, especially if you're fishing like grass edges, weed edges. And that category is prop baits. Now there's a couple different styles of prop baits. You have like the elongated versions, like the devil's horse, and then you also have these kind of short and squat bodied baits that are really good shad and bluegill imitations, but primarily bluegill imitations. And there's a few things that you can do with these baits. Now, I'm not the world's most avid lure customizer. Like, I don't tinker with my baits all that much, but prop baits, there's several things that you can do. The very first thing that is less of a customization, but it's kind of something that you want to do you know, when you're fishing these baits is, you know, I'll generally fish these baits with a braided main line, a light braided main line, something in the like 20 or 30 pound test range. I like to use the Seagar Tactics braid as my main line, just because, you know, I like having that low stretch for, you know, be able to really get be able to lead those fish away from the cover, and also because it floats. But one thing that's not so ideal about braided mainline is the fact that it's so soft that it can actually tangle in the hooks. So one of the main customizations that I make when it comes to the line that I use with prop baits is I like to use a monofilament leader. It doesn't have to be very long, maybe about a foot and a half length, maybe 2 feet if you're, you know, going to be retying several times throughout the day and you don't want to retie the leader. You just want to be able to you know, have enough leader length so you can tie a bunch of times back to the bait, but nothing really long. And the purpose for this is twofold. Number one, or really threefold. You've got a little bit more stretch, so that gives you a little bit of flexibility or elasticity when you're fighting fish, which I think is important. Also, I think that the monofilament is a little less apparent to the fish than the braid, so you maybe get a few more bites. But most importantly to me is the monofilament is much more stiff, so it's less likely to snag in the props or the hooks. Okay, braid is just going to drive you crazy if you just use straight braid with prop baits. So that's the first customization that I always do with fishing prop baits like this. Another really cool thing that you can do with a prop bait, and this is probably the main thing that you want to kind of tinker with your prop baits, is how those props are cupped. You can really bend these in all different ways, but in general, there's two different you know, things that you want to do with these props. You can either bend them so they're cupping towards the nose of the bait, which is going to create much more dramatic you know, spitting and sputtering action, create a bigger bubble trail, and also limit the forward motion of this bait. It's going to take more, you know, of a popping action to move it forward. In those situations, you know, it's usually dirtier water, more aggressive fish when I'm trying to pull them out of cover. So, you know, you can bend those forward, okay? Or if you want something that is creating less commotion on the surface and is more hydrodynamic, less of a bubble trail, a little bit more finesse, you can bend that cup inward towards the back of the bait. Okay, and you can mix and match, you know, both of these. Usually I'm mostly messing with the front prop most of the time. A lot of times I'll just leave the back prop the way it is. Usually it's cupped out towards the back of the bait, but you can do both and just kind of tinker with it, man. That's one of the cool things is these props, as long as it's a metal prop, very customizable as far as the action and the sound that you get from it. So that's another thing. The third thing that I really like to do with these prop baits, because I'm primarily fishing, especially these wider bodied and more and short bodied prop baits that look like bluegills, a lot of times I will dye these these feathered hooks on the back. And I do like to use feathered hooks with these type of baits. So I'll take some dye like this. We got to do this so we don't get it all over the boat. I'll just dye the feather. I don't need really to dip it in the jar. We'll just do the cap there. But you can see there, now you've got that nice chartreuse tail on the feathered hook. And a lot of people think of just dyeing their soft plastics, but it actually works really well with feathered hooks as well. But that chartreuse accent to the feathered hook is really a great imitation of bluegill, like we're kind of fishing around today. We've got some bluegill beds, and so whenever you have bluegill that have those little chartreuse tails, man, dyeing your feathered trebles are really important. Another key, I guess there's 4 different customizations, is changing out your treble hooks. So super important. A lot of these hooks are not very good quality out of the pack, and so changing them with something like a TBL 930 from Hayabusa, just a really strong, sharp hook, very, very important. And really tend to focus on changing the hooks out with the same size hooks on topwater baits in general. And you know, a lot of times you gotta really search for a good, high quality feathered treble hook for these baits. So anyways, or tie your own. But anyways, guys, those are some tips for customizing prop baits. It's a category of topwater bait that's a little bit more of a specialty topwater bait for certain situations like weed edges, bluegill beds, and things like that. But nonetheless, it is a great and very fun bait to fish. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And also, if you have any tips of your own for a prop bait, I want to hear them in the comment section below. I always like hearing what you like to do with your different baits. Also, if you have a topic you want me to cover in a future video, make sure you drop that topic in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm going to see you out on the water. Make sure you trust the process.